In today's video, we're going to talk about the Marvels, aka Captain Marvel 2. So, it appears the untouchable Marvel Cinematic Universe is crumbling, and it started with Ant-Man 3 and then carried on with Secret Invasion. Loki Season 2 is pretty good, but it appears the Marvels could flop harder than The Flash. And saying that, that means it will be the worst Marvel performing movie ever if these reports are true, and Kevin Feige is freaking losing it. Although I do believe that's true because of all the reports and leaks and news that we've been reporting over the last couple of days. This pretty much affirms and confirms somewhat it could be true. So yo, what is freaking good, YouTube? Warstu here with a video on the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Can Kevin Feige save it? I don't know. So, check us out on Instagram at Warstu to see the beautiful face behind the beautiful voice. Check us out on Twitter at WarstuG. Right, let's get into it. So, we know the Marvels, which should be called Captain Marvel 2, comes out November the 10th. So, this movie has to make 700 plus to break even. So, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 made crazy money because of word of mouth, and it was, for the most part, a very good movie, and it really did well. And obviously Ant-Man 3 lost just under 500. So according to Box Office Pro, the open weekend range is somewhere between 50 million and 75 million. Domestic total range 120 to 189. Now the problem with this is it's got competition. The Hunger Games movie comes out a week later. So the Guardians had very good word of mouth. Ant-Man 3, there was a report we covered the other day where Marvel was shook. They were shocked by how bad Ant-Man 3 performed. Obviously, Kang the Conqueror, played by Jonathan Majors, is the overall bad of the whole multiversal saga. It appears everything's crumbling. So the most recent report are suggesting the Marvel box office estimated to do worse than the Flash movie. But it's got a production value, a production cost of at least $300 million, so it's got to get somewhere between 600 to 700 to make money. The test screenings were apparently bad. I don't know if this movie's bad, but if it doesn't make money, it doesn't matter how good the movie is, they need to make money. So the fact that it's being compared to DC's worst movie ever, The Flash. So The Flash opened with $55 million back in June, finished with a $260 million. It only just beat The Nun 2. Recent reports have suggested the Marvel's pre-sale tickets are down 70% from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is shocking. So that movie opened with reportedly $118 million. So if the ticket sales continue that trend, and generally pre-ticket sales and box office projections have been very correct recently. So Captain Marvel, the first movie, banged $1.1 billion and opened with $150 million because Kevin Feige lied. He was like, yo, because this movie's coming out in between Infinity War and Endgame, you've got to watch it. Realistically, you could have walked into Endgame without watching Captain Marvel, although for the prelude, the prequel kind of information, it was cool to find out, but you didn't really need to watch it. So according to my good friend, Grace Randolph, Marvel is afraid and they're losing their which essentially is what we reported in a Marvel video recently. So YouTuber Grace Randolph, whilst reporting on problems with Marvel and the Miss Marvel series with such low ratings, Marvel Studios is freaking out, the Marvel pre-sales, and it's scared by how low the numbers are. It's not like Marvel's going to get bankrupt anytime soon, let's be honest, but it's not good. What's interesting to me is Miss Marvel is so bad, but I tell you something else. I'm going to tell you a little bit of tea. Take Grace Randall's information with a pinch of salt, but she has been somewhat credible in the past. I don't even know if I should, but I'll do it anyway. Okay, she said, I heard the pre-sales for the Marvels the other day was so bad that Marvel is really scared. I believe that because Secret Invasion did so bad, Ant-Man 3 did so bad, Loki numbers are pretty cool, but that's because Tom Hiddleston is delayed, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 made a lot of money because of word of mouth, and it had legs. Randolph continued. They were as bad as the pre-sales for a recent, let's just say, a recent non-Marvel superhero movie. That's all I want to say, because it'd be too tantalizing if I say what it actually was. I don't want it to be too big. So basically lower than the Flash movie is what she's saying. Interesting. I had hinted a day before the story broke officially. Editor noted the first hit via Reddit box office theory that Marvel's pre-sales were not going too well, explained by Randolph. I had said that it was lower or around the same place as a DC film, and I don't want to say it what it was at the time, but since the story broke, it was The Flash, I heard. The Flash movie was so bad. And then you get all these DC fans defending how great the movie was. Ben Affleck was in that movie, so it doesn't matter if you like Ezra Miller. Ben Affleck was in that movie, so it should have banged the fact that it had like 300 cameos in. So bad. Pre-sales are bad thanks to Miss Marvel. Now, I don't think that's the truth. I think there's a lot of factors here. Basically, no one cares for Marvel because the storyline's kind of mid at the moment. Randolph continued in her video. She was told by I hate when people say insiders. No, you weren't. You were told by that person inside your head. Randolph added, the pre-sales are that bad. I heard that Marvel was kind of freaking out about it. I had heard from a source telling me that pre-sales for Marvels were like, yo, Marvel's scared. They're scared for the future of the MCU. Regarding the ratings for Miss Marvel, this is the least watched MCU show on Disney+. That's not really saying a lot because there hasn't really been many. I was watching 65% less than the top-rated show, which is season 1 of Loki. So as Randolph said above, it's no surprise that Marvel isn't tracking well. I don't understand why they've thrown Monica Rambeau and Miss Marvel. I get it for the narrative story point, and I get why, but it wasn't really needed. I think when you see the numbers for Miss Marvel in comparison, I think that's kind of makes sense. Interesting enough, he said, it's going to be really interesting. I was looking at pre-sales, and they were pretty bad. There are lots of tickets left. Now, I mean, for me, I don't understand why you would ever pre-order or pre-book to go watch the theaters. Like, just get your ticket opening weekend. I mean, I think the only time when you couldn't was No Way Home and Endgame. But, I mean, if you look at the first movie, bagged $1 billion, this should, on that premise, at least make 700 to 800 turnover. But that's not going to be the case. So, the Marvel's box office estimates in their report, long range, that the flick could open anywhere between $50 to $75 million. Less than The Flash. Anything doing less than The Flash is awful. Internal pre-sales are alarmingly low for Marvel Studio. Trends are currently 69% behind the pace of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, 72% behind Quantumania, and 42% behind the Eternals. Eternals movie did so bad, and people were like, yeah, it was nothing to do with the pandemic. Adding social media tracking for the Marvels has been noticeably weak. Yep, and also, this is not a metric of how many people are going to spend the money, but also, if you notice on YouTube, or on any kind of, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, no YouTuber, no TikToker, whatever you want to call them, nobody's talking about the Marvels. Even when people, post a plot leak video to do with the Marvels, even if it's, one of the biggest creators in the niche, no one freaking cares about the Marvels movie, which it's pretty interesting because, careful spoilers, the way the movie is supposed to end, it's supposed to, somewhat set up the future of the MCU, and there is no interest for this movie at all. And then I see people talk and go, yeah, we need Deadpool 3. We need Deadpool 3 now. No, we need stories that don't have to be connected to anything else. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 wasn't connected to anything else. Although I like connected stories inside the MCU and the DC universe, if it makes sense, not every story has to be connected to another story. And this story is kind of connected to Secret Invasion, but except for the ending of the movie, it's still pretty self-contained inside the smaller MCU, if you like. But Kevin Feige is absolutely losing his and I don't understand why, because not every movie is going to be that successful. I mean, realistically, in terms of what's flopped, only really Ant-Man 3 has flopped recently. Guardians made money. It'd be interesting because people love Brie Larson, people hate Brie Larson. It'd be really interesting to see where is Marvel at now. But then you can't really judge it because the next movie, I mean, realistically, Captain America 4 to see how that does. And Deadpool 3, because I don't honestly think Deadpool 3 is going to bang $1 billion just because who's in it. I don't think it's going to be the case for that because Doctor Strange 2 had a lot of big players in it, and that came very close to banging $1 billion. I just think the overall niche of comic book movies is it's in a very bad place at the moment. And no wonder Kevin Feige apparently is going to be doing a soft reboot after Secret Wars and bringing back the characters of Iron Man, Captain America, Black Widow, etc., which they could. But I don't think they should bring back the actors. It's the characters they need to bring back. People don't care. And I've said this for the longest time. And I always get a lot of backlash when I say things like that. But it's realistically, that is why Marvel movies aren't doing as well. People switched off after Endgame because it was called Endgame. They just switched off. So, yeah, the movie is tracking so bad that it spells trouble for Marvel overall if they can't sort their to the point where people are like, yo, for Kevin Feige needs to go. Calm down. They've only had one bad box office release realistically. I mean, sure, you could say some other ones, but as long as a movie makes money, then the studios are generally happy. So, like always, guys, let us know down below. Are you excited for the Marvels? Are you one of these haters? And do you think it will make less money than the Flash movie? That would be so embarrassing if that turns out to be the case. So, like always, guys, check us out on Instagram at Warstu. Check us out on Twitter at WarstuG. And I will catch you in another video very soon. Catch ya later.